My MIL, whom I absolutely hated, finally passed away. Now I can be free from her. No matter how devotedly I cared for her, she always treated me horribly and never thanked me. However, a certain event triggered a suspicion in my mind. Maybe I had been terribly mistaken about her all along. I began to move to uncover the truth. And then, hidden there, was a shocking fact that left me trembling in fear. My dad has already passed away, and my mom is living alone comfortably, so you won't have to worry about any hassles, Shelley. That was before we got married. When I, worried about MIL problems, accepted his proposal, my husband Tim, who is 2 years older, told me that. But things didn't go as planned, and after all, a stranger remains a stranger. From the beginning of our marriage, I never felt accepted by my MIL. She graduated from college and worked as a middle school teacher until retirement, known to be very strict. He graduated from college under her expectations and worked for a prestigious company. On the other hand, the word a teacher made me nervous enough to run away because I wasn't good at studying, always failing and attending makeup classes, and I only graduated high school. What kind of books do you usually read, Shelley? I don't have much in common with Tim, so we can't really talk. Well, I haven't been reading much lately. I love mystery novels. I have many in my room. Would you like to borrow some? Actually, I'm not very good with books. I was particularly bad at modern literature, and I hated even looking at the words in textbooks. So, I couldn't properly respond to her questions about novels. Oh, I see. Well, never mind then. My MIL said dismissively with a sigh, and after that, she never started a conversation with me. Since then, I felt that my MIL was cold and looked down on me. However, since we lived apart and met only about once every 3 months, I tried not to mind and endured it. Moreover, contrary to the strained MIL relationship, my relationship with my husband was good. How about we go to a hot spring for your 33rd birthday next week and stay overnight? Can you take off work? Really? Thank you. Actually, I thought you might plan something, so I took the day off in advance. You're quite the planner. But that's what I love about you, Shelley. Let's have a great time. Tim always thought of me, but there was something I found out about him after we got married. It was that he had zero savings and spent money lavishly. Did you buy a new watch again? You just replaced the last one. It was a limited edition, and I fell in love at first sight. I felt it was fate. You always say that. If you keep shopping like this, we'll run out of savings. Oh, not to brag, but my savings balance is 0. I said it lightly as a joke, but my husband responded confidently, and I was so shocked that I was speechless. He's 35, but still acts like he's single. I decided to observe for a while, promising that we would start saving a little each month. But half a year had passed without keeping that promise. Hey, Tim, we can't go on like this. We need to change our lifestyle. Huh? What do you mean? I'm happy every day. I feel the same, but it's different. We want to have children and build our own home in the future. So, let's save money together. I honestly expressed my feelings, although I thought it might not resonate with him. In that case, my current salary barely covers the living expenses. Can you save from what you earn, Shelley? His company is prestigious, and he should be earning much more than me, a full-time employee at a small company. That can't be true. What are you spending your money on? Well, that's... Just tell me, okay? We're married, aren't we? Actually, I have some debt. I've been paying it off every month. This was the first time I had ever heard about this, and I was so shocked that I dropped my phone. But don't worry, the repayments will be over soon. He didn't tell me how much the debt was or how much he was paying back each month. Even if you say that, I'm honestly just worried now. I can't help but think about our future together. Are you okay with that? Since he didn't seem to understand when I said it gently, I looked him straight in the eyes and told him firmly. Shut up. I don't want to hear this from you. Tim's expression quickly grew harsh, his brows furrowed, and he shoved me. He's usually so calm, but now he's doing this. I was so shocked and surprised that my hands and feet started to tremble. I thought my parents and friends would worry if they knew about this, so I decided not to tell anyone. Maybe I had been a bit too persistent about the money issue. We've only just become a couple, so let's take some more time to talk things through. I decided to think positively and not dwell on my worries. Around that time, my husband called to tell me that my MIL had been seriously injured and was in the hospital. According to Tim, a neighbor found her collapsed in the yard and called an ambulance. She had regained consciousness but had been unconscious on the way to the hospital.
That's terrible! I'll head to the hospital right away.
No, Shelley, you don't have to come. Why not? Mom said she doesn't want to see you. Though I was shocked by his words, I somehow understood how my MIL felt. She has too much pride to show her weak side. My MIL had hit the left side of her head hard and now needed care. After she's discharged, we'll have to take care of her, so I think we should live together.
Wait a minute. Is your mother in a condition where she can't live on her own?
According to him, she had paralysis on her right side and had some difficulty speaking, requiring help with daily life. We can't just leave her alone, right? But wouldn't she hate being taken care of by me? Even in the hospital, she didn't want to see me. It's definitely painful for her to be seen in a state of disability. Moreover, the thought of living with her, whom I didn't get along with, weighed heavily on me, and I wanted to avoid it if possible. Of course, I won't leave it all to you, Shelley. I'll help as much as I can. She's important family to me. All right. Faced with Tim's earnest plea, I couldn't refuse any longer and reluctantly agreed. Once we started living together, Tim began to be at home less, citing work as the reason. I received a notice from the city about your mom's care. I see. I don't really understand those things, so I'll leave it all to you, Shelley. In the end, I had to take care of her by myself while working. I talked to my company and switched to working mainly from home, but there were still times I had to go to the office. I talked to the care manager, and it seems there are various services available for her. I suggested to Tim that we could use daycare services or have a helper come when I wasn't around.
Huh? That would cost money. If you adjust your work schedule and take care of her, we won't have unnecessary expenses.
He opposed it outright, without even hearing the details, which only increased my burden. One day, I had to go to the office, leaving my MIL alone at home. I hurried home after finishing work, and when I entered her room, my heart skipped a beat.
Hey! What's wrong?
My MIL, who was usually either in bed or sitting in a chair, was now collapsed in front of the dresser.
Were you trying to get something from here? I told you not to walk around by yourself because it's dangerous.
Shut up. Struggling with her words, she rejected my help. If you hate taking my help so much, don't make things harder for me. Moreover, this wasn't the first time. She had fallen and couldn't get up in various places around the room multiple times. As a woman, lifting my half-paralyzed MIL from the floor was quite a heavy task. No matter how devotedly I took care of her, showing my sincerity, her attitude never changed.
Get out of here.
Eventually, she started saying such heartless things frequently. I can't take this anymore. I wish she'd just pass away soon. I was mentally and physically exhausted, and though it was inappropriate, I began to think that way. One day, a while later, my husband made a surprising suggestion. I'll take care of Mom. Why don't you go relax at a cafe, Shelley? I left the house lightheartedly, grateful for the unexpected proposal. Even just getting out occasionally is a nice change of pace. As I was enjoying my alone time for the first time in a while, I received a call from Tim. What's wrong? I'm coming home soon. Is it urgent? Mom's been taken to the hospital. It might be serious.
What? But she was just having tea as usual when I left.
The sudden news left my mind in turmoil. When I hurried to the hospital, I found my husband sitting with his head down in the waiting room. How's she? Slowly lifting his face, he looked at me with an expression of sadness and helplessness, shaking his head. Though my MIL needed care, her condition had been stable, but suddenly, she had passed away. The hospital asked if we wanted a detailed investigation, but Tim refused, and we took her home. The days leading up to the funeral flew by, and I was so busy that I had no time to mourn. In fact, rather than not having time, the sense of relief from finally being free was stronger, so I didn't even shed tears. However, I was worried about my husband. "Tim, are you okay?" "Oh. Sorry, did you say something?" "No, but maybe you should rest a bit." He seemed restless one moment and lost in thought the next. Since the day my elf passed away, Tim had been acting strangely. It must be a shock for him, losing his beloved mother. With my support, we managed to get through the funeral. That night, I woke up to find Tim missing from the bed. "Where is he?" "Bathroom." Feeling thirsty, I decided to go to the kitchen and slowly descended the stairs when I heard Tim's voice coming from the living room. It seemed he was on the phone with someone. "With Mom's insurance payout, I can finally finish the repayments." "What?" I accidentally let out a sound and quickly covered my mouth, but he didn't seem to notice. Peeking through the door, I saw him end the call and lie on the sofa, scrolling through his phone. Last time was a failure, but this time it went well. The cremation is done, so there's no worry about an investigation. His face, illuminated by the phone's light, wore a sinister smile I'd never seen before. Wait a minute. What does this mean? Did he do something to MIL? If that's the case. The suspicion arose, and I shivered with fear. However, I knew I couldn't leave things as they were, so I decided to investigate my husband. But I couldn't move carelessly while he was at home. The next morning came, and I had barely slept, my mind racing with thoughts. Tim's week of bereavement leave ended, and he went to work as usual. How can I investigate him? Still having some days off, I was cleaning my MIL's room while pondering this. As I moved her bed mattress to clean underneath, something caught my eye. Huh? What's this? A piece of paper with a single character written on it was found between the frame and the mattress. I had no idea what it meant. Maybe it's just a random scrap that got stuck here. Thinking that, I continued tidying up and found another piece of paper with a single character in the drawer while organizing clothes. Now I had two pieces. Maybe these are meant to be put together? A hunch struck me, so I decided to search the room, thinking there might be more papers. Sure enough, I kept finding pieces everywhere. Putting them together, I realized it was a message from my MIL, and I was shocked. Determined to know more, I began to investigate further. 3 days later, on Sunday, we both had the day off. I'm exhausted from all the cleaning. How about a walk for a change of pace?
Yeah.
It's a nice day. Let's get something to eat on the way back. Tim, humming cheerfully, got ready for my sudden suggestion. As we left the house and started walking, he stretched his arms upward. It feels great outside. How long has it been since we took a walk together? Tim looked up at the sky, enjoying the moment. Shelley, what's up? Noticing my silence, he peered into my face. Hey, why did MIL suddenly pass away when her condition was stable? I stared intently into his eyes. What? Isn't it because she was old? You never know what might happen with the elderly. But her last checkup showed no issues. Even though he should have heard my murmured words, he said nothing. Are you sure you don't know anything? Come on, don't say weird stuff. We had reached the park, so I ignored his flustered words and suggested we sit on a bench. The park was bustling with families, as it was a weekend. It would be nice to have a picnic here with our family if we ever have kids. Sitting on the bench, Tim tried to change the subject or maybe spoke his true feelings, I couldn't tell. He avoided my gaze. Back to the topic. MIL wasn't sick. Didn't you kill her? Don't say such dangerous things without evidence. What would I gain by harming my mom? He raised his voice and yelled angrily, drawing the attention of everyone in the park. Good, just as planned. I had chosen the busy park for our walk, thinking I wouldn't be able to confront Tim alone at home. Noticing the whispers and glances from people around us, Tim seemed startled. Let's drop this topic. It's not over yet. You had a motive to get rid of Mil, didn't you? I said that's enough. Shelley, do you hold a grudge against me or something? Oh, I get it. You're upset because I didn't help with the caregiving, right? Laughing nervously, he tried to brush off the conversation, his expression stiff. Don't change the subject. You needed Mil's insurance payout to repay your debt, didn't you? What are you talking about? Sure, I have debt, but I never knew Mom had insurance. My husband, panicking, glanced around nervously while denying it with gestures. Oh, really? Then why was this in your room? You went into my study without permission. Yes. After replying, I took a file out of my bag and showed it to him. Why do you have this? The file contained loan documents, demand letters, collection notices, and a claim form for Mil's insurance. I had found these in the back of his study drawer while he was at work. The amount of debt he claimed to be small was actually several $100,000, and Mil's insurance payout was enough to cover it. There's more. Huh? Enough already. Tim's voice grew louder, drawing attention from the people around us again. This is the definitive proof. I took out another paper from my bag and held it out to him. Seeing it, he was at a loss for words and began to scratch his head vigorously. I copied your notebook. You detailed your plan to send your mother to the afterlife. It also had a note saying, I'll use the insurance money to pay off my debt. Honestly, I couldn't tell how many times he had attempted to execute his plan, but he might have been waiting for the right moment after moving in with her. It's just a simulation, like a mystery novel. I'm into mysteries, just like Mom was. He made a desperate excuse, trying to sound convincing. I've never seen you read a novel. Even Mil mentioned that right after we got married. Well, that's... Feeling cornered, Tim fell silent. Just a bit more. I'll push him further. I reached into my bag again, pulled out another folded paper, and thrust it in front of him. Look at this next. More? He looked at the folded paper with a weary expression and reluctantly opened it. What is this messy writing? A crazy letter? He sneered and handed it back to me, mocking it. It was a piece of paper with the words, behind the bookshelf written shakily, letter by letter. In fact, this was a message left by Mil. I suspected she might have fallen while trying to hide these, so I searched the places where she had collapsed before. As I guessed, I found several pieces of paper, which, when put together, spelled out behind the bookshelf. This is the last message Mil desperately wrote with her unfamiliar left hand. Huh? So what? I don't get what that sentence means. I wondered the same, but it was a way to keep it hidden from you in case you searched the room. It was a clever message, fitting for a mystery-loving Mil. This could just be a prank by Mom. It would have been better if it was a prank for you. She wouldn't do such a thing in her condition. Stop with the nonsense. Anyway, I'm not involved. Shelley, you have a motive, too, for being treated coldly by Mom. He vehemently denied and turned the accusation toward me, no longer the kind and gentle Tim I knew. He was desperately trying to escape blame. His expression and tone were now rough and aggressive, unlike anything I had seen before. Even if I hated her, I'd never think of killing her. Who knows? I found Mil's phone behind the bookshelf as her message said. Look at this. I activated her phone and played a video. In the video, Mil appeared, struggling to speak but managing to say, I think my son might be trying to kill me. Mil knew everything, didn't she? Ugh. Not only that, but when she was first injured and hospitalized, she was pushed off the porch. Moreover, while she was immobilized after hitting her head hard, she saw Tim, who was supposed to be at work. But since she wasn't certain, she felt she shouldn't say anything. She also said she didn't want to believe her own son would harm her. It seemed clear that Tim had tried to send Mil to the afterlife but failed, resulting in her needing care. And Mil repeatedly told me to get out because she was scared I might be harmed too and wanted me to escape. In the video, Mil explained this. When I realized that her cold words hid her concern and deep love for me, I was filled with regret. I sincerely repented for the moment I inappropriately wished she would pass away quickly. I then decided to punish my husband to clear Mil's grievances as a form of atonement. You pushed her off the porch, didn't you? Even if you try to deny it, it will come out when investigated. There's no proof. If I check your phone's location data, I can find out where you were that day. Tim's face went pale, and his eyes darted around before he twisted his face in frustration. That stubborn old woman. She should have just died the first time. Well, at least she helped pay off her son's debt in the end. She should be happy about that. After a moment of silence, Tim suddenly became brazen and cursed. There's no way she'd be happy. She must have died with nothing but regret. You don't understand my feelings. I was terrified of debt collectors and had to use most of my salary to repay the loans. It was so stressful. I don't understand. It's your own fault for being reckless with money. This is your own doing. You probably got into gambling, didn't you? Well. It seemed I hit the mark, and Tim became tongue-tied. Anyway, whatever the reason, this is a crime. I'll be reporting you to the police. The police? If you do that, I'll get fired from my job. Not only that, but you'll likely be spending a long time behind bars. Please, spare me. The debt is gone, and the obstacle is out of the way. Let's start a new life together. I'm begging you. Tears streamed down his face as he cried desperately. I'm the one who should be crying. There's no way I can live with you anymore. I expressed my feelings and pushed him away. You think you can talk to me like that? Tim, in a fit of rage, shoved me, causing me to fall from the bench to the ground. Stop it. It seemed he forgot we were in a park. Ignoring everyone around, he mounted me, raising his hand as if to hit me. But that was as far as he got. The people around us intervened, yelling, "Stop that," and restraining him. I'm calling the police. Ugh. My husband collapsed in tears as he was held down. Apologize to Mil from the bottom of your heart. And face what you've done. After I said this and called the police, the red lights of a patrol car approached quickly. Tim was then taken away by the arriving officers. Afterward, I explained the situation and provided all the evidence. Unable to withstand the intense questioning by the police, he confessed to both injuring Mil the first time and sending her to the afterlife this time, leading to his arrest and a prison sentence. Of course, I divorced Tim. At the end of Mil's video message, she said she wanted all her inheritance to go to me for taking care of her. Though I hesitated, it was a significant amount, so I decided to accept part of it and leave the rest to a lawyer to be donated to those in need. Now, I've moved and started a new life on my own. While I devote myself to work, I plan to spend my time peacefully and slowly for myself from now on. I visit Mil's grave occasionally, thanking her for protecting me despite her condition and sharing my updates. I vow to live positively and authentically, like the blue sky that spreads above me.